Hi, and welcome back to my Sunday Christmas stories. This week is all about Santa Claus. That's right, the big red guy. Today I'm going to tell you a story about my son, who was 4 to 5 years old, I guess, at the time. My son's name is Josh. This story has everything to do about keys and Santa Claus. I'm sure you're asking right now what keys and Santa Claus have to do with each other. Just be patient and I'll get to that. So as I said, my son was 4 or 5 years old. And at that time, just like I do now, we had to go to the laundromat to do our laundry. And I remember that it was really cold that day and there was actually snow on the ground. So we lugged all our laundry in, Josh and I did, and it turned out that we were the only ones in the laundromat, at least at the time. So I'm in the process of doing all this laundry and stuff, and my son goes, "Mom, look, it's Santa Claus!" And I looked up, and sure enough, in had walked a nice looking older gentleman and his wife. They even had the whole red outfit going on. They had sweatsuits on, but sure enough, he had the beard, the white hair, and everything. I mean, they looked the part. I also noticed that the couples had grins on their faces. So Josh, of course, wanted to go over and to talk to them. Now, I have to tell you a little backtrack. That the reason for this was because Josh had not told his Santa Claus list, what he wanted for Christmas to Santa Claus, because we hadn't been able to see Santa Claus yet. So he was really, really wanting to do this bad. So he kept pestering me to go talk to him, and I kept telling him, no, you got to leave them alone, because after all, they're there to do their wash too. If you can believe Santa Claus ever does his wash. But Josh could hardly contain himself, because he had a real burning question. You see, my kids and I, my daughter Natasha and my son Joshua and I, every year actually watch a Christmas movie called Sesame Street on Christmas. And part of that, or I should say, sorry, Christmas on Sesame Street. Let me get this correct. Anyway, as part of it, Kermit the Frog and this little girl and Big Bird all go on a quest to find out how Santa Claus, that is big as can be, can get in people's houses if they don't have chimneys. You see, that's very important to kids, because after all, don't we tell kids that, Santa Claus goes down the chimney so they get toys? Sure we do. But what about those kids like my son who lived in an apartment complex? They didn't have chimneys, so this was a very important question. Anyway, so we had discussed this, and both the kids were really, really concerned about, Santa Claus not getting in the chimney and how often. So I guess I had told them maybe he has magic keys. I don't know. But anyway, Josh wanted to know, and he was bound and determined to go ask Santa Claus. After all, he was there to do his wash. So the next thing I know, my son goes, "You're Santa Claus, right?" And I look at the couple, and of course Santa Claus grins and he says, "We are!" Well, my son just about lost it then. So he wanted to go and sit down. He goes and sits down on this guy's lap. Yes, he did, believe it or not. But I thought it was okay, and the guy was okay with it, and I was near folding clothes. All of a sudden, I'm looking at my son, watching him, talking to Santa Claus, telling him all sorts of stuff, And all of a sudden, I see him jump off Santa Claus' lap. And out the door he goes with, guess what? A set of keys. That's right. He had this Santa Claus's keys. And he's outside in the parking lot laughing and throwing snow, and he's jumping up and down and he's jiggling these keys. Well, he scared me to death, first of all, because he ran outside by himself. So I go out there and I'm like, what in the blazes are you thinking, child? He screams, Mom, Mom, I got Santa's magic keys, he says. He did have them, he did, he says. I said, as calmly as I could without laughing, well now, Josh, but Santa needs them back because, after all, you're not the only one that doesn't have a chimney in their house. I mean, how are other kids going to get in the house if you have Santa's keys? Well, needless to say, Josh wasn't happy about the fact that I took the keys from him and gave them back to Santa. I told the gentleman that year that my Christmas, and certainly my son's, was just wonderful, and I thanked him. He promptly told me that he and his wife go all over the county doing parties for needy children. He often has children come up to him, as Josh did. He was happy to listen to Josh as well. The only thing he wanted to know was what was about the keys. Josh, you see, Josh just asked if he had the keys. He never told him why he wanted them. And I had to explain to the couple why Josh wanted Santa Claus keys. Well, that was the year that I think Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus laughed probably the hardest. Needless to say, it'll be forever etched in my mind and my son's mind the day that Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus came into the laundromat with their magic keys. I really hope you liked this story this week, and you have a good week, and we'll be talking to you later. Bye-bye.